Welcome back to the Roadside Dawns channel. In today's video, we visit the city of Kosice in Slovakia. Keep watching and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Kosice is the second largest city in Slovakia, an important center of political, economic, cultural, and church life. The city is located on the banks of the Hernád, at the foot of the Kojsovska Hola, where the river coming out of the mountains slows down and deposits its sediment. In the parts outside the city center, the city's socialist past is strongly felt, with high-rise buildings everywhere and a gigantic Soviet monument. The memorial on the Liberators Square symbolizes the entry of the Soviet Army in 1945 and the subsequent 40 years of repression. Kosice has a long and rich history. It was mentioned for the first time in written sources in 1230, and it is referred to as a city that has existed since ancient times. In 1342, it acquired the status of a free royal city, and in May 7, 1369, it was the first in Europe to receive a coat of arms signed by the king. This event is now celebrated as Kosice City Day. In the 15th century, it was the second largest city in Hungary. In the 17th century, it belonged to the Principality of Transylvania. Gabriel Bethlen, the then prince, held his wedding here in 1626 with Catherine of Brandenburg. The great fun lasted for 1 week, but the accommodation was scarce. Even princesses slept on straw according to the records of the time. In the 20th century, there were almost continuous political changes in the life of the city. Today, most of the city's population is Slovak, but Hungarians, Germans and Roms also live here. The biggest sites of the city are located in the historic city center, the central part of which is the spindle-shaped main square, which is considered the most beautiful square in Slovakia, not without reason. Almost all of the historical buildings have a Hungarian aspect. Dolna Brana is the underground archaeological museum of Kosice. During the reconstruction of Main Street at the end of the 20th century, the remains of the lower gate of the old city fortification were found, and the city decided to create a unique underground museum here. This monument displays the city's coat of arms. The Gothic-style St. Elizabeth's Cathedral is one of the most characteristic buildings in Kosice. A parish church already stood in its place in the 13th century, but it later burned to the ground. From the records, it can be concluded that the construction of the cathedral began in the 15th century, but it was rebuilt several times. Its northern tower reached its present form in the 18th century, and its southern Matthias Tower in the early 20th century. It can be visited for an entrance fee but is not expensive. Behind the cathedral stands the St. Michael's Chapel, also in Gothic style, with a medieval atmosphere. The small church built in the 14th century was previously used as a cemetery chapel. It can be visited for an additional fee. Through the western gate we enter the spacious, impressive interior of the cathedral. The most beautiful and valuable artifact of the church is the richly decorated Gothic high altar, which was made in the 15th century. The Rakoczy's crypt is located in the subchurch of the cathedral, where the ashes of Prince Francis Rakoczy of II, brought home from Rodosto in 1906, were buried. His coffin is covered by a multitude of wreaths decorated with Hungarian national ribbons. The ashes of his mother Ilona Zrínyi and his son Joseph were also placed here. In the other three coffins are resting the companions of the prince, who also died in Rodosto. The double-row royal staircase built in the second half of the 15th century leads to the royal oratory. In the past, King Matthias listened to Mass from here. There is a great view of the city from the top of the tower of the cathedral, which can be reached via a spiral staircase. On the north side of the cathedral stands the three-story, 45-meter-high St. Urban Tower, which bears the name of the patron saint of the winegrowers of Kosice. It was built in the 17th century, and at the beginning of the 20th century it was supplemented with arcades, where some of the tombstones found during the restoration of the cathedral were placed. Until 1966, the tower contained the bell of St. Urban, which was cast from fragments of the bells of Kosice destroyed in the Great Fire of 1556. A copy of this bell can now be seen in front of the tower, set on a pedestal, because it fell in 1966, also as a result of a fire. In 1999, an exact copy of the bell was made, which has been rung every noon since then. The State Theatre in Kosice was established on the site of the former medieval town hall, which had not been used since the 16th century. The first theatre building was built in the 18th century, but a fire broke out during a performance and it was later demolished. The building of the new State Theatre was built in the eclectic neo-Baroque style at the end of the 19th century. Then followed the most successful years of Hungarian theatre in Kosice, which lasted until the First World War. The first Slovak play was presented in the theatre in 1920, and performances in Hungarian and Slovak were also held until the Second World War. The dome of the building is decorated with an authentic copy of the statue of Aurora. Two things make the Fountain of Zodiac signs special. One is that it has live fish swimming in it, and the other is its magical abilities. All the signs of the zodiac can be found on the rim of the circular fountain. They say that if you stroke the figure of your own zodiac sign, your most secret wish will come true. Maybe true, maybe not, but it's worth a try anyway. The Baroque Immaculata statue was inaugurated in 1723. The main figure of the monument is the Madonna statue standing on top of the 14-meter-high obelisk with a star wreath around her head, the globe and the snake under her feet. On the pedestal you can see the statues of Saint Joseph, Saint Sebastian and Saint Laszlo. The statues were placed on the pillars of the iron fence around the monument only later, in 1908. The group of statues was erected in memory of the 26 townspeople suspected of conspiracy who were executed in the main square of the city of Kosice in 1696 on the former site of the incident. We have come to the end of today's video, but stay tuned, because in our next video we will visit the High Tatras. Thank you for your attention.